And the Astros could use, well, someone to clean up Jeff Bagwell's mess after last night's 6-0 loss to the Milwaukee Brewers. It was an ugly loss. The 8-game winning streak is no more. The offense didn't exist. Maybe the Astros shouldn't have scored all those runs on Monday. Yanir Diaz had a dumb throwing error that led to a runner scoring from second base on a pickoff attempt. Maybe Maldonado should have played. Red hot bat, defensive mastermind. Jose Altuve had mud butt. Hopefully, that's the best case scenario. You heard Rafael Montero have a meltdown. That sucked. Pretty much completely yesterday's game, which I chose to watch instead of watching my Boston Celtics, who, even though they won against the Miami Heat, I was like, they don't deserve my time. They quit on me on Sunday. I quit on them until the series is 3-2. Yesterday was also the second night that we heard Jeff Bagwell, Astros Hall of Famer, consultant to Jim Crane, on the call. And I'm not going to lie, I do really enjoy him on the broadcast. He's goofy. He tells random stories. He's one of the best players in franchise history, so I'm enjoying learning about the team's history through him. I think it's great whenever he makes Todd Kalas cackle. That happens a lot, and it's not that fake yuck, 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 yuck media laughter that you hear from time to time. No, it's authentic laughter. So I've been enjoying that. But good God, the offseason moves with his fingerprints have been bad. And it was all highlighted last night. Yes, Jose Abreu had another hit, but he's still just slapping the ball around. The power numbers, the drought, it continues. Montero, complete meltdown. Maybe there was some luck involved in the inning extending because it all happened with 2 outs, the 4 runs that the Brewers were able to get. There was a weird play in the middle of the infield where Montero wasn't quite able to get a guy out at first base. Maybe none of that happens. Maybe we're not talking about any of it. But that home run he gave up that you heard coming in was absolutely destroyed. And over the course of the game, you saw multiple shots of Michael Brantley sitting on the edge of the bench, and you're wondering, okay, when the hell's Brantley going to be back? So, on today's Paul Gallant Show, the most interactive sports talk show in Houston, I have decided that we are going to put Jeff Bagwell on trial.
In the city of Houston, some people think that Jeff Bagwell did a lot of dumb this offseason. This is that story.
So, ladies and gentlemen, and all the people of Houston, I stand before you today with the intention of making sure that Jeff Bagwell, 1, never puts his paws on this Astros roster again, and 2, that he gets shut out of Jim Crane's suite and is only allowed in the broadcasting booth because he's not helping himself out on the broadcast. Monday night, you heard Jeff Bagwell defend Jose Abreu's struggles. Last night, he doubled down on his belief in Jose Abreu, and he basically said the exact same thing that he said on Monday. Here is Jeff Bagwell once again standing up for Jose Abreu's 3-year, nearly $60 million contract.
People are asking about your thoughts for Abreu. He's not off to the start anybody was expecting. What do you think is going to happen?
No, he's not. But for all those fans looking at that, just go ahead and check the back of his baseball card. You know, he hit 315 last year or something like that, 310 with 1575. Everybody wants to look at the home runs. You know, he's struggling right now. He's going through it. Everybody goes through it. Obviously, being with a new team, signing as a free agent. But he's going to hit. He's hit his whole life. You know, I know it's tough, and everybody wants him to hit more and hit a bunch of homers and all that kind of stuff. But by the end of the year, he will do his thing, and he will get his hits. And he'll be a big part of our offense. I truly believe that.
Look at the back of his baseball card, Jeff. Jeff, you can't do this to us. It is the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. You want to jump in on this trial. You want to stand up in the jury and point at Jeff Bagwell dramatically. You can. Sean Mapes, you are also in the courtroom. You are the bailiff here. When you hear Jeff Bagwell say that you should look at the back of Jose Abreu's card, how do you feel? Do you feel like you are being talked down to?
I do feel like he's some sort of, expert witness kind of thing, trying to like muddy the facts of like, well, in theory, blah 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 blah, and throw all these science work, all this baseball stuff. Like, he's a Hall of Famer. I get it. He knows more about baseball than I do. But come on, don't play me for a fool, Jeff Bagwell.
Sean, that's the worst part, because he can't just flex yeah, I'm a Hall of Famer. I get it. You don't. And now that we're almost 2 complete months into the year and a quarter of the way through the season also, when you hear that, you're like, okay, I want to be patient. I want to believe you, but why? And here's what bothered me even more. Exhibit B, I present to you, the people of Houston, in the case against Jeff Bagwell, the general manager. He acted like he knew exactly what's going on with Jose Abreu. And I got to say, like, this seems to really be a case of projection. Maybe he thinks he sees himself in Jose Abreu. Here's Jeff Bagwell.
So here's the deal. As a hitter, when you're struggling, okay, you know you're going through it and everything like that. So he knows what he's doing wrong. We all know what he's doing wrong. All it takes is one pitch, one swing. Like, you can take a pitch, and if you see it well and you see it slower than it normally looks to you because you're so messed up, you know you're doing the right things. If you get one pitch, you take one swing, and you feel it, and the sound of the bat, and you hit the ball where you're supposed to hit it. That's all it has to take in order to get going again. Like I said, man, he's always hit, and he will hit.
He's always hit. He will hit. More of this expert witness stuff, courtesy of Jeff Bagwell, who, for whatever reason, believes he knows exactly what's up with Jose Abreu. I gotta say, it's not that simple. And it's, I think, misleading of Bagwell to present it like this. We all know what's happening. Okay, well, fix it. Fix it immediately. And then on top of that, you got to explain away all of the dramatic changes in numbers from Jose Abreu that you have seen from last year to this year over the stretch of games that we have seen Jose Abreu go without a home run. You brought him in for his power. I saw a tweet by one of my friends, Landry Locker, yesterday that said that the last time that Jose Abreu hit a home run was hours after Lovie Smith explained why he decided to go for a tie against the Indianapolis Colts in week 1 of the 2022 NFL season. I mean, it's been that long, but Bagwell's telling you to look at the back of the card. So that's Exhibit A. That's Exhibit B. You think those are bad? Bagwell's 1, commentary about Rafael Montero, and 2, silence during Rafael Montero's pants poopage last night is even worse. You'll hear what he had to say about Montero as Montero was lighting himself on fire next. Jeff Bagwell is on trial. I am the prosecutor that is going to, 1, get him away from doing anything that has to do with the Houston Astros roster again. I get it. Dana Brown's here. But 2, we are going to ban him from Jim Crane's suite because clearly those whispers in Crane's ears have led to poor decisions. Before we get to the phones on the most interactive sports talk show in Houston, talking about how Jeff Bagwell said, look at the back of Jose Abreu's card. A texter, this is Tony. My dudes, come on. That's like saying, look at the back of Jared from Subway's baseball card all those years before he was great. Actually, it's not like that because Jose Abreu was just struggling at baseball. He's not a pedophile. okay? There's a big difference between struggling at baseball and being a pedophile.
This is like if Subway sold no sandwiches for like the first 6 months of a year. And you're like, well, but look, back in 2004, he was moving those subs.
Exactly, Sean. It's more like that. Let's not compare a guy who's struggling at baseball to Jared from bleeping Subway. A couple other texts. Why is everyone jumping bags? Not one person thought this was a mistake signing Jose Abreu. It hasn't worked out. Win some, lose some. A month ago, he wasn't even bottom 5 in batting average. I'd move him to 6th or lower. Well, that's the problem. You're paying him to be higher up in the lineup. And the problem is, too, you're paying him for power. So, look, you could say, hey, no one was crushing the move. You're right. I love the move. But if you took a look at the actual analytics, and we did mention this after the signing, all of his power numbers and contact numbers, exit velocity, etc., all of that has gone down. All of it. And he's chasing fastballs more, and he's whiffing on them. I saw another piece that was put out by one of my buddies who does a baseball website in Seattle. He showed me another graph, and I'm like, okay, all these graphs, not ideal, and I get that Jeff Bagwell doesn't care about the graphs, but maybe he should. I'm not saying they have to be the end-all, be-all. I'm just saying maybe they should. Another text, I don't blame Bagwell for the Abreu signing because I do think Jose will turn it around, but Montero and Brantley deals are possibly the worst signings in Astros history. The Brantley one, I'm not going to go that far. The Montero one, I'm also not going to go that far. But last night on the broadcast, as Rafael Montero was melting down and blowing the game open for Milwaukee, here is what Jeff Bagwell had to say. This is Exhibit C in my trial, the prosecution of Jeff Bagwell.
Been a tough year for Montero, who signed an offseason deal with the Astros for 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's always going to go perfect. You know, there's always times that guys are going to struggle and guys got to go through it. But track records are track records. And he's pitched in some big ball games for us and done very, very well. He'll figure it out.
The bullpen was lights out last year. He was as good as any of them out of the pen
exactly
in postseason.
I still got faith in him.
You can't say track records are track records, though, when Rafael Montero's only good season in the majors was the full season he had last year with the Houston Astros. His ERA this year, it is 7.32. Do you know what his ERA was in Seattle in 2021? 7.27. Uh-oh. There's actually consistency there. And doubling down on Montero, sorry, hard pass. And yeah, you heard a defensive Montero there. But if you were listening to Todd Kalas trying to set Jeff Bagwell up multiple times to talk about Montero's struggles, Jeff was noticeably silent. If you watched the broadcast last night, you would have heard not a lot of Jeff in that 8th inning as Rafael Montero was falling apart, Sean. It was suboptimal.
Even in that clip, there's like an awkward pause when he was like, yeah, but track records are track. Like there's like a, yeah, it has been bad.
I get bringing up Abreu's track record. You can't with Montero. I'm sorry. And this is where I believe that the entire jury is going to turn on Jeff Bagwell. But I do have something in my back pocket. We'll get to that in a moment. It's the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. 713-780-3776. Let's first go to Josh, who has some thoughts on Jose Abreu. Josh, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Paulie.
Yo.
So, I mean, I'll preface, I'm a salesperson. I've been in sales for 20 years. I read people. It's kind of like I sit back and just read body language. And, I mean, for one, I'm 43, and there's no damn way Jose Abreu is younger than me, for one. I mean, when you get that out of the way.
You're not
there's
the
no
first
way.
person
I mean,
that
you can
said
look at
that.
the guy's face. Dude, he is grizzled. Listen, he doesn't care is the problem, okay? You look at his body language. His eyes look sleepy, like he looks like when you try to bring something up to someone that has this air about them, they think they're better than you, and they can't take the time. Like when you go to the doctor's office and they can't take their time to answer your question. Like he just looks like he doesn't care. And we called him and we offered him $60 million and he was ready to retire. And he was just like, okay, I'll go play another season. And I'll just, when you watch Trey Turner, who's struggling in Philadelphia, he looks like he's a maniac and he's trying way too hard because he really wants to succeed and he really wants to be good. That's probably why he's not doing well, is because he's just, he's pressing. But Jose Abreu is not pressing. Jose Abreu does not care. He's making his cash. So I don't know why we even play him. Let's just put him on the edge of the bench and let him make his money.
I appreciate the phone call, Josh. And we're going to give you a lot of time to talk. Interesting thoughts. Are we really going to – I get the idea that maybe Jose Abreu is older than he actually is because Latin American paper records, maybe not the most reliable. At the same time, you can't make that accusation without some sort of proof. I think Abreu wanted to play for a contending team. Now, I want to know what the market was for Abreu outside of Houston, if there were any other teams that were seriously interested in paying him that kind of money. It feels like that wasn't the case. But I think that's a bridge too far to make accusations about whether or not he cares. I think anybody who is out there who is used to hitting home runs, who is used to smacking the bejesus out of the ball, they're going to have a sense of pride when it comes to the fact that they're not doing that right now. Bagwell believes it's a timing thing with Abreu. I want to believe him. I mean, Bagwell was a damn good hitter. Abreu has been a damn good hitter before. Let's go back to the phones, though, before I pull in the trump card in the case against Jeff Bagwell that maybe should have him canceled. Thomas has a thought, 713-780-3776. What's up, Thomas?
Hey, Paul. So I'll preface saying this. I'm team patient. We have a full year. We're doing okay. Let them play through their, tough stretches and we'll get it together. But, yeah, man, I wish TK on the broadcast would have been like, hey, you should go check out Rafael Montero's baseball card. If you're going to pull that card with the Braves and do that, but
he did not bring that up. That was very convenient, Thomas.
Yeah, and then I would think it would have been fascinating. Since we were going to get blown out 6-0, whatever it was last night, we should have done inning by inning, like where TK just gave an Abreu stat, and then Jeff Bagwell had to give the explainer, and it'd probably be the same little script that he has. But I would have just been like, okay, so his batting average is down, his on base percentage is down. This is down, and I just want to hear Jeff Bagwell just on repeat, just say the same thing over and over. Trust me, he's working really hard at it. I know that he is. He's the hardest working Jose around. So, but yeah, man, I'll hang up and listen.
Appreciate it, Thomas. It's a tricky place to be if you're TK in that spot because you have to stay focused on the game. The game can't become a talk show about Jose Abreu. You can talk about him every now and then, but you also have to focus on the actual action going on. The good thing about baseball is there's plenty of dead time to do that. What bothers me about Bagwell is Bagwell was saying a lot of the same stuff on Monday night, too, about Jose Abreu. And that concerns me a little bit, just because I feel like he probably knows as well. This might have been a mistake. And again, plenty of time left, but we're a quarter of the way through the year. I don't know why we should believe that things are going to change. So as we continue the prosecution against Jeff Bagwell and the punishment, this is what I'm asking for from the judge. I am asking for him to be, one, out when it comes to anything that has to do with consulting Astros moves. 2, I want him banned from Jim Crane's suite. They can still hang out as friends. I want him banned from Jim Crane's suite during games. I don't want them together. I don't want Grima Wormtongue talking in Jock Jim Crane's ear. Sorry, Jeff, but I don't. But I do want Jeff on the baseball broadcast, even though he said the N, and by N I mean E-N word, on the broadcast yesterday.
Sometimes I say Enron. Sometimes
Do you?
I say,
Still?
Yeah, still?
Come on.
It comes out.
Enron still comes
Every
out.
once in a while it comes out.
Wow. That's going way better.
Well, that's where it started.
I know.
And they had a problem, and we changed it to Minute Maid.
There was a problem.
There was a problem.
2-2 count to Jazz.
Jeff, it was more than a problem. Enron, biggest problem. Families, ruined. City, ruined. And you're just throwing casual N-bombs out there. E-N, get it? That is a cancelable offense. So, ladies and gentlemen, and they, thems, of the city of Houston, I believe that I have presented enough evidence to merit keeping Jeff Bagwell from making any Astros decisions, keeping Jeff Bagwell out of Jim Crane's suite, but also putting him in on the broadcast along with Jeff Blum, because I think it would be fun to have a third voice. He's laissez-faire, laid back, sits back, but every now and then he gives you something good. I will admit, I am listening a lot harder, and I like Jeff Blum, but I'm listening a lot harder over the course of the last couple of games, mainly because I do know that Jim Crane has listened to Jeff Bagwell this offseason, and there are 3 moves that the Astros have made this offseason that haven't worked out so well. Like, that's the main reason I'm listening. I'll be perfectly honest. But
yeah, if Jeff Blum was the shadow GM of the Astros for a while,
the same thing.
Yeah, we'd be listening every game.
But we'd be more mad because Jeff Blum hasn't had a Hall of Fame baseball career.
We would be more mad.
We would be more mad. Like that. That is Jeff Bagwell's saving grace, and he's fun. He's kind of goofy. I like him on the broadcast, but I believe I have presented enough evidence, ladies and gentlemen, they, thems, the people of Houston, to get Jeff Bagwell out. 713-780-3776. We put Jeff Bagwell on trial today. Phil has some thoughts on Jeff. Bill, what's going on?
Yeah, I just want to say Bagwell was a great player for a long time, and to keep harping on him for whatever he did to sign those guys or talk them into signing them, but it's already happened. It's done. We got to live with it.
But
nothing we can do about it.
I get that there's nothing to do about it, Phil, but it's made worse when on the broadcast he's defending it. No, and the defense is, well, look at the back of the baseball card. It's a tad condescending. And you're right, Phil. What he did as a player is awesome. He's one of the best players to ever play baseball in this city. There's a reason he's a Hall of Famer. And I think we got to separate, though, the Hall of Fame player from the guy that's a part of the front office. No, and I feel like as these struggles continue and Abreu continues to play and Montero continues to be used in high-leverage situations and Michael Brantley doesn't play, this is a topic that is going to continue to come up. Are we supposed to just not talk about it at all, Phil, and bury our head in the sand?
No. Sports, not just baseball.
Well,
big-time general managers have all signed dogs to long-term contracts, and they turn out to be terrible. Bagwell ain't the only one that's ever done it.
But he's the one who's doing it here.
Especially in football.
I get that, Phil.
So that's all I'm saying.
No, you're right. And there's other sports to talk about. But Astros are the top dog in town by a very wide margin. I appreciate the phone call. I understand that, yes, other general managers have done bad things. But this is the one that we're focusing on right now. And, yeah, this Astros team is doing great. I mean, they did just win 8 in a row. They just were winning 11 to 12. The Milwaukee Brewers are in first place in the National League Central. But last night, it's not just that you saw Jose Abreu not hitting for power, Rafael Montero having a meltdown, and Michael Brantley, a lot of shots of him like sitting in the dugout, not playing. It's that Jeff Bagwell is defending it by saying, look at the back of the card. And it makes me wonder if Bagwell believes in the idea that a player can change and that all of a sudden they're going to go from being a good player to a bad player. I don't think he believes that's possible. And I think we've all seen over the course of sports that it happens a lot with relievers and it happens a lot with older baseball players. And Jose Abreu's in his late 30s.
Yeah, a lot of good GMs make mistakes. Jeff Luhnow, obviously. There's one big mistake, but other mistakes that he made along the way. Daryl Morey made a mistake bringing in Carmelo Anthony, who, by the way, retired a couple days ago.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Carmelo Anthony. But it is the case of Jeff Bagwell. He shepherded this team that had just won a World Series, and so far, every move that happened in that time period where he had a bigger voice in the room, all bad.
And it's not like this is the only problem for the Astros right now.
And they're 2 games back in the ALS. They're not that bad.
Right. Again, we have high standards here. This is not, and this is what's funny. People will hear this show and act like I'm dumping on this team. I love the Astros. The Astros made me like baseball again. I used to not like baseball. From 2011 through 2015, I did not like baseball. I was a Red Sox fan. The Red Sox smeared the greatest manager in franchise history, Terry Francona, because they had a collapse at the end of 2011 as opposed to thanking the guy. And then the Astros, me covering them here when I first moved here, they were awful. So I hated baseball for a little bit of time. The Astros brought me back, and this is the best team that this city will ever see. What they've done over the last, since 2015, this is the best run that you will ever see a Houston sports team have. It's great. We should appreciate it. But at the same time, we have high standards. Your expectations change. And when bad things happen along the way or missteps, yeah, you're going to call it out because we're all it's like going from rags to riches. When you have the riches, you're perhaps not going to be as grateful for the things you have right in front of you. So obviously, yeah, that's where we're at right now. We are talking about first world problems, but it's a tad annoying when Jeff Bagwell is defending it in the manner that he's doing it, which is look at the back of the baseball cards.